preaching improves with reps and feedback. And I remember asking you, it was several years ago, I was actually interviewing you for a project that I was working on. And in my mind, I had always thought that pastors don't get feedback because they're afraid. Not pastors, but in this context, pastors, anybody, you're afraid to ask for feedback because you're afraid of what the truth is. And you said, that might be some people, but really a lot of times it's just because you don't know who to ask. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know who I should go to. So this one intrigues me for that reason. And then we'll get to number 10, but preaching improves with reps and feedback.
Yeah. I mean, someone might listen to what we just talked about. Hey, don't have to hit a home run and go, oh, good. Which is good. And they might hear that and go, well, cool. I'll just wing it then. And I'll just hit a single.
Just preach the gospel.
And it's like, I mean, maybe if you're playing little league, like maybe you could wing it and, not practice very much and still get singles. But, NFL teams work very, very hard to move the chains,
Mhm.
right? There's lots of possessions where they don't move the chains. And I think you can't just assume, well, I'll just wing it and hit a single every week. Like, I don't know that you actually will. So this is saying, okay, I want to improve. I want to grow. Well, there's two ways to do it. One is you need a lot of reps. Tim Keller famously said, your first 200 sermons, no matter what, are going to stink. So, I remember talking to my aunt and I told her that, and she lives in another state. She said, well, tell me after you've hit 200. So that's when I'll come visit the church. And his point with that was to say, instead of spending 25 hours sermon prepping, what if you spent 10 hours and you spent the other 15 with people? Because the extra 15 hours of prep, you're not going to be any better because your first 200 sermons stink. So on one hand, you just need reps, right? We did this summer. It was really fun. We did a training day where we have 3 services on Sunday, and we had a developing young leader eat, one of them took each of the Sunday sermons. So one guy preached at 9, one guy preached at 10:45, one guy preached at 4, and we gave him feedback and we gave him, and that was a good experience. They're not going to get a great deal better without a lot more practice, right? So I told him, all right, you get invited to a nursing home to do a Bible study, you say yes. You get invited to do a high school football chapel, you say yes. You get invited to come speak at it, like just say yes to anything when you're a young developing preacher, because you just need reps. At the same time, you really develop not just with reps, but with feedback, with evaluated reps, right? Everyone grew up hearing practice makes perfect. That's not really true. Practice just makes permanent. Uh, it's evaluated reps. It's reps with coaching, reps with, hey, why don't you try this? Hey, do you notice you do that? And like you said, very few preachers get that. At most, we get, hey, pastor, that was a great sermon, or an email where someone's complaining about something. But like, what do we don't hear much.
Mhm.
And we don't want to burden people in the church. Like once you start listening like a critic, it's hard to turn that off. I don't want to do a bunch of that. Right. So, but how do you get feedback? How do you get reps? To make it worse, none of us likes to hear ourselves or watch ourselves. So the self-feedback we could give, we're often resistant to, because it's like, I don't like this. Like,
Mm.
so we got to get over that. But really, I mean, that's a lot of what has been so fun about the preaching lab, is to be able to give feedback to, the last week of the preaching lab. I don't know if we'll do this again in the future, but I told the guys, I said, hey, I want you to evaluate one of my sermons. Like, I can take the medicine too. And they brought up some stuff that I hadn't noticed that. And so having experienced people who care about you and love you and know what they're talking about and can actually give you detailed feedback to help you improve. Because if you improve just 1% or 2%, man, that over time, that makes a huge difference. So yeah, I think we need reps and we need evaluated reps.